All right, so people will ask, if I hire you, how's this process work? Initially, what I'm going to do is send out a letter of representation to your insurance company, your own car insurance company, and the bad driver's insurance company. Those letters will say pretty much the same thing. I represent you, no more contacts at all to you. So the moment I formally represent you and get those letters out, they can no longer legally contact you. I'm also going to gather your medical records and your medical bills. Depending on the nature of the accident, I may hire a private investigator to go out and lock down who was at fault. It depends. I mean, if it's a situation where it's a clear rear-ender and you've got a whole bunch of witnesses, there's no point in spending money unnecessarily. But if it's a close call, you want to ensure that liability is tended to. Once liability is tended to, then the lawyer is in the back seat, really, and the medical profession and you need to work through to get you as well as you're ever going to be. So for a time, there's not a lot for the lawyer to do. What the lawyer's waiting for is for you to become either as good as you were physically the day before the wreck, or you're as good as you're ever going to get. The doc says you're medically stationary, which simply means you're as good as you're ever going to get. And at that point, you're back to where you were, or you're as good as you're going to get, and I know what future problems you'll have. Then and only then can I assess the value of your claim, because that's when I know the full extent of your injury. So once that happens, more often than not, I'll send out a demand letter. And we'll talk before that demand letter goes out, and I'll tell you how I value the case, what the range of value is on the case. I'll tell you what I recommend we demand to resolve the case. You've got to give me authority to send that out, or it won't go out. So it's a collaborative process. I'll give you my 30 years of experience in assessing why I think the case is worth what it's worth, and ultimately we'll get a demand letter out. And more often than not, the case will settle at that time. If it doesn't, then we'll file a lawsuit. If we end up filing a lawsuit, typically your involvement will be limited to a deposition, which is nothing more than a sworn statement under oath, much like this room. In fact, this is the conference room of my own office, and this is where depositions occur for my clients. So the defense lawyer hired by the insurance company for the bad driver will simply take a sworn statement under oath. That's what a deposition is. We will exchange paper, requests for production, medical records, medical bills, and most cases go away before a trial. A few go all the way to a trial. One has to prepare for every case as though it's going to go to trial, even though more than 95% of them, maybe as many as 99% of them, resolve without a trial.